everyone. My name is Katie Brumfield. I am the Colorado School of Public Health Career Services Specialist. And today I am talking with Anastasia Cornell. Anastasia graduated from our school in 2019 with her master's in public health in epidemiology. Hi, Anastasia.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for joining us today for this episode of Coffee and Careers. And if you could just tell us your current job title and where you're currently working.
Definitely. My current job title is a research specialist, and I'm working at Rocky Mountain Poison and Drug Safety, kind of with Denver Health.
Okay, perfect. So it's like under Denver Health?
Yeah, it's kind of a department of Denver Health. So if you look at Denver Health's website, we're a sub-site there.
Okay, perfect. And how long have you been with that organization?
I worked as a contractor for them for 2.5 years, and I have been a full-time permanent employee for 1.5 years.
Okay, great. Mm-hmm. Could you describe kind of like a typical day in your position?
Definitely. So I work on a pretty wide variety of projects. I'm doing a fair amount of project management. So figuring out what happens when, and how we need to meet our deadline, and then what resources we need in order to do that. And so I will flip-flop from project to project. Today, for example, I'm working pretty heavily on a literature review, and that'll be most of what I'm doing for the next week or so. Outside of that, I help a little bit with some clinical trials and a little bit with some observational trials as well.
Wow. So a lot of behind the screen research.
Yes, it's a lot of behind the screens research, kind of coordinating what's going to go to who in order to complete certain tasks. There's certain things that I can do. The literature review, I put together reports fairly frequently. And so I get those sent off and delivered to whoever's buying the report.
So since you're working on multiple projects at once, how do you manage all that and your time management?
Organization is extremely important. I'm very partial to a thorough to-do list that ranks everything in terms of actual priority and deadlines specifically. There are a lot of items that are very easy to put on the back burner, but they're going to come back and bite you at the end. So just making sure that I keep everything kind of in a place where I can see it and say, okay, I need to pay attention to this today or tomorrow or whenever.
Yeah, I know that time management piece is huge.
Yes.
With project management, especially.
Mm-hmm.
What systems do you use on a daily basis?
It's kind of boring, but we use a lot of Microsoft Office. So I have learned so many cool tricks in Microsoft Outlook. It's not even funny. I use a lot of Excel and Word. We use RedCap pretty frequently for data entry and just kind of the data management side of things. I've been using Qualtrics pretty periodically to create surveys and working with departments on the main campus to do that. And then for the biostatisticians, they primarily use SAS. I think that there's a little bit of R, but I haven't heard of them using anything else.
Perfect. It's good to know because there's a lot of systems out there.
Definitely. And I will point out that you're going to learn SAS and then you are going to forget it unless you keep using it. So if you envision yourself, doing that in the future, make sure to keep up those skills.
And there's some great refresher courses.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
How would you say the Colorado School of Public Health helped prepare you in this current job?
So I did a wide variety of things. I went straight from my undergraduate to my graduate degree. And so I don't think I fully appreciated just how much I was actually learning. But I did. I learned, some of those project management skills have definitely come back later. We've been doing project charters and stakeholder registries to identify who's doing what and when, and it really clarifies things. Outside of that, we do a fair amount of epidemiology in our reports. So looking at these different, exposures to whatever product we're looking at and comparing them to populations, looking at sales adjusted rates and population adjusted rates. And then I think another big one that I have been observing lately is study design. Wow. And so really looking to identify, okay, is this the best study design for this project that we're doing, or what is the study design in this project? So
that's really cool. Mm-hmm. What would you say the top 3 skills you use most often in your career?
Definitely time management. Yeah. That's pretty high on my list. We collaborate all the time. The group projects are definitely something that I always questioned. Is this something we're ever actually going to need to do? And the answer for me, at least, is Yes. I work routinely with other people. And then I think a third skill, it's definitely flexibility and being able to understand what you know and what you don't know and where to get the information, which is something that I picked up during my MPH program.
Yeah, that's good advice. What would you say as this far in your career, something you're really proud of?
So I actually recently promoted to my position of research
Yeah.
specialist. So I think, what was my first day in that position? It was within the last month or so. So I'm very excited about that one. I spent, I think, a year as a professional research assistant, and then my contracted time was spent as a research assistant too. And so getting to progress has been really, really amazing. And then watching my own progress, because we have competencies, has also been incredibly helpful.
Oh, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
What about challenges in this role?
There are a lot of times where I try to figure out where my line is. I'm given a fair amount of, free reign to complete my projects. And so learning to identify when I need to reach out for help has been very challenging for me, because there are times where I really need help, but I feel like the people who can help me are, extremely busy themselves. And so working to identify when I can find the answer and when I need help has been challenging.
Yeah, and I'm assuming you're working remotely right now, so that probably adds
Yes.
an extra layer of challenge.
Yes. The working remotely has been challenging, but I think we've done a really good job at the transition. So
Nice.
Mhm.
What advice would you give to someone that's interested in pursuing a position that you have?
I would say yes to everything. If there's an opportunity and you have time to do it, go for it. There's not a reason not to. Even if you don't like it, you'll learn that you didn't like it, or you'll get a new skill that you can put on your resume.
Yeah, that's true. Is there anything else, any words of wisdom or anything else you would like to tell the future workforce of public health?
I would just say keep going for it. Sometimes it can be discouraging applying for jobs and, everything else that you have to do, but it's completely worth it once you get there.
Yeah, it's a very rewarding career path.
Absolutely. I feel like I'm actually doing public health, which is very cool. One of my biggest fears about getting my master's degree was having a master's degree in public health and then not doing public health. So,
Yeah. Yeah. And going right from undergrad to grad school,
mhm.
did you have a lot of work experience?
I can make a mean coffee, but I didn't really have any public health experience. So,
Yeah. So then, yeah, of course. But then you, correct me if I'm wrong, you took a contract position at your current organization and then,
yes. So I did a practicum, and part of my practicum, I did some data entry.
oh,
And so that was
nice.
kind of my foot in the door. So,
Yeah. Wow. So great networking.
yep.
Yeah.
I applied for the job before I even moved to Colorado to start my program, and was declined for the position, but they told me to come back if I was still interested later. So here
Wow.
I am.
Wow. That's great. That's
Mhm.
really cool. All right. Well, thank you so much, Anastasia, for sharing your career path with us. And thanks for all the amazing work you're doing in public health.
Of course. Thanks, Katie.